In this video, you're going to find out how much money Kevin O'Leary was paid as a sponsor for FTX and how much money he lost being involved with FTX. I will also reveal towards the end of the video how much money I was paid in 2022 by FTX and how much money I lost. Folks, let's react to this CNBC clip. Don't forget, December 9th, the expiration of the coupon code for the programs on Building Your Wealth with lifetime access to those lectures. New lectures coming out, the Elite Hustlers course, Stocks and Psychology of Money group, the Zero to Millionaire Real Estate group. You will absolutely love the programs on Building Your Wealth. Get lifetime access to those and to the course member live streams for as long as those continue.
I want to understand how much money you lost in the contract, but I also want to understand how the investment and this ambassadorship happened at the time that it happened. You did disclose it, but I want to understand how you went from calling crypto garbage at one point, as you know, to deciding that this was something that you were going to stand behind.
Yes, I recall that conversation, calling it garbage, right here on this show in 2017. That was a time when a New York hotel was being tokenized here, and I was looking at that, and the regulator let me know they were not happy with that idea. And that's when I stepped away from this, because clearly the regulatory environment was not prepared. Then facts changed. I saw the Canadians issue the first ETF with Bitcoin as underlying, Ethereum, then Switzerland opened up, then Australia opened up. And then I said, wait a second, world's changing, I got to be an investor. And that started my journey. I'm an investor in the largest regulated exchange in Canada, called WonderFi. The wallets are called BitBuy. We're regulated by the OSC. I have my accounts up there. Right. But I felt that getting involved when I was approached with Sam Bankman-Fried, that I could get an inside seat on what was considered then. And I got to tell you, the institutional interest in FTX on the U.S. equity was unbelievable. The amount of people that approached me saying, how do I get a piece of this deal? And I said at that time, I am a paid spokesperson. I cannot bring you as an LP. Not a single dollar that I lost is anybody else's money except mine. That's important for me because that's an issue.
Now, what Kevin O'Leary just described is known as speculating on regulation coming. It's frequently done with the cannabis industry, and it's frequently done on money-losing companies. It's called betting on what's to come. It is an uncertain bet. We're not sure if that regulation will come, as so far it hasn't. We're not sure if that mass legalization of marijuana would come, which so far it hasn't under Biden. We're not sure that those money-losing SaaS companies that were hot during 2020 will actually perform well going into a recession. In fact, there was a piece by Bloomberg's Cameron Cruz out this morning where he looked at ARK-K's performance, lined it up with profit-losing tech companies, and the correlation was almost 94%. And they noticed that most of ARK's historical returns came from following the beta of money-losing companies, not necessarily alpha, and that their alpha has recently turned negative. Now, quickly, so we can get back to Kevin O'Leary, beta just means how much a stock is expected to move relative to an index. So if a stock has a beta of 2, the S&P goes up $1, a beta of 2 stock is expected to go up 2. If the stock goes up $2.50, that means it outperformed by 50 cents on its beta. That is the alpha. That's why people say they want to seek alpha, which is a greater return above what you would expect the volatility of a stock's movement to be. Anyway, speculating on what's to come is very risky. This is why I personally will not speculate on a turnaround at Intel, like we talked about with course members this morning. It's also what we talked about with course members this morning, why I won't speculate on the outcome of the ad-supported tiers at Disney or Netflix, why I won't speculate on the outcome of the metaverse for Facebook. Let's see those earnings actually come true, and then place bets and investments. That could lead to lower returns, but it lowers risk, which, lowering risk, especially in tough times, can lead to net greater returns.
How much were you paid?
Total deal was just under $15 million, all in, including a bunch of agents and that I had to pay because I needed SAG-AFTRA release to be able to do commercials for it, and when I did that. I put about $9.7 million into crypto. I think that's what I've lost. It's all at zero. I don't know because my account got scraped a couple of weeks ago. all the data, all the coins, everything.
It sounds to me like Kevin's $15 million deal was probably all just getting paid in tokens. It wouldn't shock me that part of the contract was just paying Kevin O'Leary in tokens. Hey, look, you make this money, you be the spokesperson, you be the sponsor, place that money into FTX. Now, remember, in this video, I'm also going to reveal what happened with my payments, okay? We'll talk about that in this video, but let's keep going with the CNBC clip here first.
So then I lost the money I invested in the equity as well. Those are zeros, too. It was not a good investment, Andrew, okay? I don't make great investments all the time. Luckily, I make more good ones than bad ones, but that was a bad one.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. When you made this arrangement, this is back in August 10th, 2021, you said the following. You said, to find crypto investment opportunities that met my own rigorous standards, that was your phrase, of compliance, I entered into this relationship with FTX. It has some of the best crypto exchange offerings I've seen on the market.
Yes.
Given that you were the spokesman and ambassador for this company,
yes, because
what kind of diligence did you do around this issue of compliance, given where we sit today?
I obviously know all the institutional investors in this deal. We all look like idiots. Let's put that on the table, okay? We relied on each other's due diligence, but we also relied on another investment theme that I felt drove a lot of interest in FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried is an American. His parents are American compliance lawyers. There were no other American large exchanges to invest in if you wanted to invest in crypto as an infrastructure play. So many of us said, wait a second, who's coming to this deal? We knew, for example,
this sounds like groupthink.
Yeah, groupthink is very common, unfortunately, in Wall Street. It's basically herd mentality, right? Many people think that only happens amongst retail investors, but the reality is it happens amongst institutions as well. For example, I got involved with FTX because I saw Sequoia Capital was backing them. Kevin O'Leary was backing them, right? The more of these big institutions you see backing, the more interested you are. It's terrible. Obviously, everybody wishes they could go back and undo their relationship with FTX, but anyway, let's keep going. $15 million, though, that's pretty nice, Kevin O'Leary. It's way more than I got.
Did you know there was no CFO?
Look, at the end of the day, to say that there was no CFO is also a bit of a falsehood. This was a nascent industry with a disruptor at its helm, creating positions that didn't have traditional names, okay? That's just the way it was. In retrospect, yes, it's a mistake. However, I feel obliged at this point to go to the end of this, particularly...
What does that mean?
It means that I need to find where the money went. I'm going to start with my own journey, with my own account. Bankman-Fried reached out to me last Saturday. And I said, look, Sam, I am just one investor, but my account has a zero in it, and there are no accounting records. Where did the money go? And to the extent you can help me, tell me, point me in the direction, because I will, on behalf of every other shareholder, go find where this money is. The next day we talked for over an hour, and he walked me through his scenario, and I learned a lot. Now, sorry?
What did you learn?
I learned, first of all, I said, what was the large drawdown of your capital? Where did the cash go? One of the biggest uses of cash was to buy back his shares from Binance, which owns 20% of his exchange. And the reason he had to do that, according to him, was that every time they applied for a license anywhere, the Know Your Client got jammed up with Binance, where the ownership is opaque. And he had to buy it back. That cost him a lot. Couple of $1 billion.
But do you think that he was taking customer funds to do that?
Yeah. Did he take that money from customers to get it?
Well, the only way to answer that question, and I told him, and he agreed. I said, look, Sam, you start this journey with me, and wherever the chips fall, that's on you. Because, we're talking about this. I'm going to pursue it. I agreed last night when Pat Toomey called me to sit on that committee next week. I will be a witness there.
You plan to testify?
I've
under oath.
agreed to testify. He called me last night around 8 o'clock. I agreed to testify. I've spent a lot of my time on the Hill.
Now, there's also been a lot of drama about this committee, by the way, about Maxine Waters not subpoenaing Sam Bankman-Fried. She says, look, we're voluntarily inviting him to come out for an initial committee meeting on the 8th, and if he doesn't show for this, then we'll subpoena him for the 13th. So I think this is kind of interesting. We'll see how this breaks down, but definitely a lot of political tension going on here because of the expectations that Sam Bankman-Fried donated way more money to Democrats than he did to Republicans, and therefore Democrats might be trying to shield him. We've certainly seen a lot of media puff pieces on Sam Bankman-Fried, which are deemed to be potentially puff pieces because of his donations, although Sam Bankman-Fried says he donated to Republicans equal amounts, if not more, through back and black channels, like channels that you can't see as visibly because he wanted the media in his favor, so he hid donations to Republicans, but more clearly donated to Democrats. Nobody knows if that's BS. We know Sam Bankman-Fried is really good at talking around in circles and making you think he's believable, but the reality is, at bare minimum, he was criminally negligent at FTX. He had a duty to his customers and completely failed that. I believe he belongs in prison. Now, what about pay? So, I had 2 sponsor agents that got me involved with FTX this year. Keep in mind, I invested $400 with fees and everything. It worked out to about $433,000 into BlockFi. That's assumed to be zero. Okay, zero, all gone. FTX this year, sponsor number 1, $118,000. Sponsor number 2, $59,287.50, and I'm still owed apparently $70,000, which I expect I'll never see that $70,000. So that's it. It's actually for this year. Substantially less, and I really started my FTX, or really sort of expanded my FTX partnership this year. Last year was even a smaller partnership or involvement that I had with FTX. I had more of an involvement last year, you might remember, with suggesting you get free stocks with Webull by going to, metkevin.com/Webull or metkevin.com/life, right? Those were bigger sponsors and affiliates for me in 2021, by far. Than FTX. Even Robinhood was a bigger sponsor for me than FTX. Anyway, I'm still working through all these numbers and the full accounting. Some folks, have seen me talk about some form of relief after a bankruptcy or after the bankruptcy for FTX. These things are still being worked through, and so stay tuned for more updates. But I always want to be as transparent as possible, and that's what I've got for you so far. And expect more information as it comes to light. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.